Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's me, Ken Pierce, and I'm here to share with you what's going to amount to be the very first video for the Ken Pierce Media video channel in YouTube. Now, a lot of you who've been following my work know that I launched this little idea called Ken Pierce Media back in June of 2020. So this was a very simple notion that kind of steamrolled into something else. So since we had to create a whole bunch of things, I said, let me create a fun little video to give you a little overview of what I have now in the background for this. And I decided to have a little fun with the zoom filters. There's a crazy background behind me, and these sunglasses that I can't take them off. So let's go. Let me share my computer screen, and I'm going to take you through all of the things that that I'm currently using for this Ken Pierce Media notion. Now, you might remember that I did one for PiercingMetal, and then I did one for Piercing Ken not too long ago, because we finally launched a channel for that website after many years of being online. So here we go. Let's share the screen, and I'm going to take you through all of this stuff. Okay, so here we go. All right, so simply put, let me just explain how this has all begun. And I'm sorry if my throat is a little dry. It's the heat in the apartment, and it's dry out. Okay, so I mentioned that I had helped a friend with a blog sometime last year, and as a means of learning some of the Google Blogger Blogspot software, I launched a little scratch pad of a blog that I called Ken Pierce Media. It was just a clever way to have something else to just noodle around with some ideas. I'm a WordPress user by nature, and since I wanted to help other people and clients to morph into the WordPress medium if they had a Blogger account, I felt the best way to do that would to be having some background in this particular software. So it's very bare bones, as you could see. There's not much to it. And not long after I started to noodle around with it, I realized that the best way to learn something is to put it into practical use. So what I decided to do back in June of the year was feed all the posts from that moment on to either piercingmetal.com or the Chronicles of Piercing Ken. And this is how it looks. So I'm up to January of this year. So it's not a lot of posts. There's maybe 300 or so links to either site. And that's all it is. I mean, if you're a Google user and you want to constantly make sure that you don't miss anything that I'm writing about on either website, you can follow this blog. And like I said, on the other posts about this nature, because I've closed the other items and mentioned that this Ken Pierce Media existed. So you can follow this along, but you cannot leave comments on it. Instead, I always suggest that if you want to leave a comment for something that you're reading, that you do it on the website that it's related to. So after I had done this, I found some literature that the Tumblr group had been purchased by WordPress. And when I saw that that had happened, knowing that PiercingMetal is in WordPress already, I felt a little bit of worry. I'm a bit of a neurotic when it comes to my branding, and I never want to lose any hard work that's laid out. So I had been using Tumblr as a feed of PiercingMetal posts, and also when I looked back historically, it looked like there were a lot of tweets as well, because if I remember Tumblr the best from 11 years ago. It's hard to remember 11 years ago. But I think I used it as a feed of our Twitter also. So with my fear that WordPress was going to subsume the Tumblr profiles at some point in 2021, I felt it would be a good idea to rebrand the PiercingMetal Tumblr as Ken Pierce Media. And that was a simple change, and I'm really happy I did it, because much like the Blogspot, this is a feed to both websites. But the thing I like about the Tumblr a lot more is that it uses the tags, you know. Let me see, it took one of my posts twice. So yeah, but that's the long and short of it. So there we go. So you see, takes all of the tags from the posts. And what I decided to do with Tumblr also was that I was going to also showcase some of the social networks. And you saw down just here is a reflection from from an art project that I went to back in 2019. Okay, so moving along. Now Tumblr's story doesn't end here, but it's pretty much the most active right now of the parts of Ken Pierce Media. So from there, I had some discussions with a couple of folks that I consider to be a council of good sounding board people, and we were talking about this brand ID, and a lot of them liked it and believed in the voice that it possibly had. So running with that, we decided to dive into Twitter. So there is a Twitter, and Twitter's been online since early December. For us, it's also, and I'm happy to report that I'm getting Ken Pierce Media for absolutely everything here, which is really cool. So so it's Ken Pierce Media on Twitter. There's I'm following 12 profiles. I got 21 followers. It has only been online a few weeks. I haven't really broadcast too much that I'm using it. I do a lot of retweets of either PiercingMetal or Piercing Ken, and those two websites have announced that this Tumblr profile exists. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. We're not going to be serial tweeters. I have friends that are out there, and I mean, literally every 5 minutes there's a tweet from them, and I don't get it. But maybe I'm doing this wrong. So that's the scoop. We're going to try to really bring you the most interesting aspects of what's going on with us here as a creative brand. Okay. So where there is Twitter, there must also be YouTube. As I said at the beginning of this little clip, this video is going to be the first video on this channel. This is a super brand new channel, and I can't even name it yet because I have to have 100 subscribers before I can even name it to be Ken Pierce Media. I can call it this, but it's not properly named on the top. And as you see, I have Spotlit, Piercing Ken's channel, PiercingMetal channel, and my personal channel of Kenny Pierce. The story, as I said, was the Kenny Pierce channel was kind of default of what Piercing Ken should have been posting, but I just didn't. I got lazy, and I wasn't certain about what I was going to do with that website. And as most of you know, Piercing Ken as a website has been a professional brand for 5.5 of its 10-year existence. First 4 years, I was just using it as a place to post things outside of Facebook. But I started using it as a professional lifestyle entertainment brand about 5 years ago. And it's been wonderful at that point. Okay, so after some deeper discussions, some close counsel, and our own our own colleague Joe Kaufman, who designed this beautiful Ken Pierce Media logo. We mused how this fun little notion of an idea was starting to pick up steam, and he pretty much agreed that, you know, why not? And so when you do a why not, let it be professional, let it be a rolling stone down the path. You're going to need a proper domain, and as you can see by the GoDaddy page here, Ken Pierce Media is taken. KenPierceMedia.com is taken. I love this because when I did this part of it a few days later, it says, we could still get it for you if you want to pay a broker $119. So I guess somebody calls me and says, we'd like to buy this name from you. Got to add a lot more zeros to get something from me, I'll tell you that much. So so moving right along, having Ken Pierce Media now as a .com brings me to this part of the puzzle. And what you're seeing is a brand new, shiny WordPress official website. Most of you know WordPress does have a free tier, but the only downside about the free tier for me was that I could not integrate Google Analytics. And I am a statistical nerd. I love to have analytics, and I love to see who's coming to what and from where and such. And that's just how it works. So be that as it may, we did create the free WordPress account to have a space to test it out and to see what it could do. But after about a week, we merged over into a full-on, this is hosted on the same server where PiercingMetal is. And it's pretty cool because I'm getting some statistics. And now you might be wondering, what are we going to post over here? Well, that brings me back to the Tumblr that I was talking about. So over here in Tumblr, you have the ability to import all of the content. And as I had said, I felt that Tumblr was gonna, you know, eventually take an exit. So my plans were to import everything from the Tumblr into a WordPress. And I'm thinking within the first quarter of this year, I'm gonna do that. The other thing I am currently using the .com for is if I just have a general editorial statement, so like, you know, welcome to Ken Pierce Media, and then I talk about, see, that was just a test of a comic book post. Then I talk about the Facebook, but that's, oops, that's the next screen. So, you know, stuff along those lines that's not on Tumblr and it's not on the Blogspot. And so it's kind of like 3 different angles doing the same thing, which is directing you to both sites. At the end of the day, the WordPress is going to be a lot more fun for this whole mechanism. So let's close a couple of those screens. There we go. So that's the WordPress, and now brings us over here to Facebook. Now Facebook is been troublesome lately. The algorithm is impossible. There was a lot of restrictions on what people were writing and saying, and we don't get political here. We don't discuss any issues like that. We are just here to discuss entertainment with you and hopefully inspire you and make you energized with your own creativity. And that's what we do here. Initially, when I had started the Ken Pierce Media idea, it was to fix also a Facebook inconsistency, which was a group page that I didn't understand the process at the time, so I renamed it to Ken Pierce Media Group. That group is now going to become more of an industry insider group that myself and another 2 or 3 colleagues are going to monitor. So it's not like a fan group or anything. This is the fan group. There's going to be more posts here and discussing the various narratives that are on either site and what we're up to as a larger brand. The old group is going to be like industry brainstorming, and which can be really insightful or really, really boring, depending on what you like. And as I said, that's going to be pretty much a very, very hard to check out thing. And this is the page you want to do. And as you can see, it says Ken Pierce Media, facebook.com. So there you have it. Another thing I was happy to do, so for a number of years, we've been using LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a business aspect. When Facebook started to get tight, I started to get friend requests in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where we all are trying to make money, explore our branding and stuff like that. This is not Facebook. This is not MySpace or anything like that. So, you know, if you're on LinkedIn, you really should be only connecting on the network side with those you'd like to work with or those you have worked with. But I wanted to use it for the site's benefit, and I did create a company page. The other day, this company page was subsumed by the Ken Pierce Media page. And as you see, once it opens up, I'm in my admin view, so it might look a little different to you. You'll see it kind of like this, I guess, view as a member. And you could click follow here. As you see, I'm following my brand, of course. And you can visit the website. It will bring you to the website. And that will bring you to this. That's where we set it up. So it's a cycle. It goes around. All right, so that's the, and that's a really important feature of the LinkedIn. I'm really happy to have the LinkedIn working for this new idea. Moving along, let's go over to some things that I do not use a whole lot of, but I have secured this identity on. So I had a Pinterest account and I never really knew how to use it. And I just populated a bunch of windows and stuff. So I turned Ken Pierce Media into what the Pinterest is. I don't know if I'm doing it correctly, but there are a couple of hundred people following this account, and I do get some traffic to it. So I'm going to leave it alone and maybe talk to a couple of the experts that I know at this and see what I can do to retool it and make it more beneficial to the larger KenPierceMedia.com. And it's not something to worry about right now for me, though, because until I get all the Tumblr posts into the WordPress, then I'll pay more attention to this. Okay, so there you go. It's also Ken Pierce Media on Pinterest. Here's another one that was subsumed. This was a PiercingMetal SoundCloud. I think when I started this account that I was going to do podcasts because podcasts were slowly becoming the rage at the time I did this. And you know, it's mostly only me doing the content. Every now and again, I have somebody who's talented, wants to be a part of the site, and we get about 10 or 15 posts out of them, and then they either go on to their own thing or they don't really contribute here anymore, which is kind of sad, especially if they're really good. But when it's only you, you can only lock down a lot of accounts. And one thing I was thinking of doing was taking all of my old recorded interview discussions and uploading them to the SoundCloud. I'm not certain if it's better to do it here or on my YouTube for the website that it is, but maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do it both. Maybe I'll put some photography up on, like, so if it's a PiercingMetal interview, and like I interviewed King Diamond way back when, and it might be fun to put the King Diamond interview here as a thing to listen to. And, you know, in a lot of the old interviews, there's a lot of, you know, hemming and hawing and ooh and ahs and stuff. It's just really, you know, there's pauses, there's jargon and stuff. But today, everybody seems to be, you know, sharing that kind of content as like never before heard. And I think that might be fun to, at long last, put some of this stuff up and just let you hear, you know, how the discussion went. You know, when we do the interviews and we type them up, it has been a long time since I've done an interview, and I do have to get back into that because I do miss it. But when you do an interview, you type up the whole thing, and then you edit out what kind of doesn't fit, or you move a section to another section where it connected with the overall discussion better. You know, like if somebody started telling you an origin about the band and you were down in the conversation about a half hour later talking about the origins of the band, you want to put that where that would go. And that's just how this stuff gets. It's editing. You're not cheating anybody. You're just doing the editing the way that the narrative makes the most sense. So so we'll see. If you're using SoundCloud and you want to follow us, please come aboard. You know, that way you know when things are happening. Okay, here's the trickiest one so far. TikTok, I don't know how to use at all. I know everybody, my friends are, I have two of my friends up here, models and actresses, and they're wonderful. And they do their voguing and their little fun videos. I don't know how I should do that myself, but if I could figure out how to do something cool for either website and put it for a TikTok, it will go here. Okay, so there he goes. That's the TikTok. Another account that I have subsumed, but the interesting thing about this subsuming is that you cannot rename the original URL in your, this is a Vero. Vero was something that was all the rage, and then it went away, and then all of a sudden it was back, and I was at Comic-Con, and I saw all these booths with a bunch of cosplayers, and they were in the Vero booth, and they said, oh, Vero's making a comeback. So I thought that was cool. I had my account, and I started to use it a bit more. But the activity kind of slowed down, and that's why there's not a lot of followers, and I'm not really following anything. It doesn't seem like the metal readership is really on this. It's a lot of cosplayer, though. I've scrolled through a bunch of times recently, and I've given some love to all the cosplayers that I see, just because a lot of them I remember from Comic-Con and such. So, I mean, if you're using Vero, you can find me. It's going to be under PiercingMetal as a proper thing, because you cannot change that. But if you look for the hashtag PiercingMetal, Ken Pierce Media, or Piercing Ken, you should be brought to this account. If I can figure out a way to change that to be Ken Pierce Media, I will. Or maybe I'll delete this because I don't have much on it. I think I have 1, 2. So yeah, I got like 8 posts on it because, like I said, I don't use it too much. So it's just there to be there. Okay. Last but not least, whoops, come on screen. Here's the KoFi. So I guess this is the pitch, right? All of this stuff is paid for out of pocket by me. So we're not advertiser supported. We're not industry funded or anything like this. So it comes out of my paycheck and my cash reserves to do all of this entertainment for you. And KoFi is one of those things that came about that became a way for anybody interested in any of the work you're doing to donate a cup of coffee for you. They assume that a cup of coffee is about $3, and that seems to be the minimum that you can do. So if you buy somebody 2 coffees, you're donating $6 to their efforts. And I try to use the KoFi account to talk about what we're up to. I haven't done it much, but I said, like, here it says any donations to the KoFi page will be rolled over to site hosting and domain fees, along with keeping our equipment maintained and up to date. That is the simple, best way to put it. You know, website hosting and domain securing costs money. Trademarking a website brand costs money. Replacing batteries, flashcards, and overall equipment costs money. So if you are a giving sort and you want all of this to continue and be there for you to entertain you, toss a virtual tip, toss a tip into the virtual jar, so to speak, I should say. And of course, as you do know, all of this stuff is connected to PiercingMetal, where it began for me. It's launching. It's a busy night on the server, I guess. So it's launching. And that's where it all began. You know, we all started with this and we've morphed it into a bunch of different things. And now it's a little bit of a empire, so to speak, right? So, so yeah. I hope you like this stuff, and I'm glad you're watching. And so I hope you enjoyed this first ever video of the Ken Pierce Media channel. If I launch any other networks, maybe I'll put another video together, and it will be the sequel to this one. I won't redo this stuff. I won't add it. I won't add to it, I mean. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click the bell, which will notify you about anything you see. And remember, the more subscribers we get, the more options we have as a creative. I think after 100, you can name the page. And after 1,000, you could start getting some remuneration from YouTube. And, you know, I never was a fan of talking videos like this, but I've seen how successful they can be. And I'm just here to bring you guys some cool stuff. So stay safe out there, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.